Yo, what's going on? It's your man D Beezy from the Poster Boys, Elephant Man Podcast Network, Grown Men Conversations dealing with elephants in the room. How y'all doing out there? Thank y'all for joining us. Hopefully you like, you share, you subscribe, share with somebody else if you like the work that we're doing. I want to talk about nation builders. That's the first thing that I want to talk about. It's going to probably be like a 6, maybe a 7-part series because I want to do little short 10-minute videos. But nation builders, and I want to first talk about the African Americans in this country. The African Americans, the so-called African Americans in this country, are nation builders, right? They have built the United States of America from the ground up. Was victims of the slave trade in 1619. Make sure I get my facts right. 1619 and up into the 1800s, whereas in slavery building this country, right? Not only working with tobacco and cotton, but did a lot of the tumultuous labor, the farming, built the White House. Later on, before the Industrial Revolution, built the locomotives, built the trains, right? Built this entire nation pretty much for free, for little or nothing, right? So the African American of this country built this nation. Another way they built this nation, if you think about the economy that is generated, the revenue that is made off the African American. Look at college, right? All of these bowl games, right? College football, SEC, Alabama, Clemson, um, Ohio State, you know what I'm saying? Florida State back in the 90s. Gators, the U, right? The University of Miami. I can go on and on and on. Nation builders. Without the Hebrews, without those African Americans running those fields, catching those footballs, catching those interceptions, it would be a kind of a dry game, you know. And I'm not being racial or nothing like that, but I want you to turn on your television next fall and see how many African Americans you see running out there on the field, even in basketball. What would March Madness be without nation builders, the African Americans, right? We literally make the March Madness. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but if you was to sit down every African American athlete during March Madness, it will hurt the ratings and the finances tremendously, right? People come from all over the globe to see this great specimen of a man run up and down the basketball court, dunking the ball, and all these different things like that, right? People, different big time schools, Kentucky, all of the historically black colleges. I can go on and on and on. Nation builders, right? They look forward to March Madness, right? Then they go into NBA and NFL, right? The African Americans dominate the NBA and the NFL, and even with the whole boycott with Kaepernick, and he took a knee because of injustice and police brutality, and people was upset, and they made it something else. They made it about disrespecting the flag, and they made it about disrespecting the troops, and it had nothing to do with the flag or the troops, right? And they turned it and they flipped it for their interests, and it's real crazy how they thought that him taking the knee for injustice was that, right? And he suffered, right? He was in his prime. He could throw the football, but not one NFL franchise picked him up. And I believe that they wanted to show him a lesson, teach him a lesson, because of if he started doing it, then other athletes would protest, right? He didn't do nothing violent. He didn't disrespect nobody. He took a silent knee, right, before the anthem. And people burned their jerseys. People gave up their season tickets. They got mad because the owners didn't, quote unquote, do something about that freedom of speech, that protest, right? And so as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're meaning African Americans, and you say what you want to us and do what you want to us, and as long as we stay in line and stay in pocket, then everything is cool. But once we protest or speak out or say, hey, that's not right, or speak up, now everybody wants to go crazy. Oh man, they're getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? Even a lot of the in the South, in the '60s in the South, and all of the different things that was going on in the '60s, and Martin Luther King days and stuff like that. They didn't go down the street breaking windows. They did a peaceful, nonviolent march and protest, right? And people went nuts, right? They made laws against it, beat them up, locked them up, put them in jail, hit them with water hoses, the whole nine. Again, I'm not anti-white, I'm not pro-black, I'm not nothing that. We just sharing this elephant man. We just sharing some historical information and saying how the African American is a nation builder, right? Even in music, I want you to think about the music industry, right? The most influential and most coveted, most sought after music in the whole entire world, right? The trendsetters of the world when it comes to music. You know that. You can go look over the last 100 years, the mark that was made on music from the African Americans in this country, right? Jazz, blues, hip hop, creating genres at will, swing, and the gifts and callings are without repentance. So it's in us to create this music. However, we don't own a lot of the artists don't own the publishing rights, right? It's the record executives, the record companies, the Sonys, the Warner Brothers. They own the music. They might get some of the money for touring and stuff like that, but the lion's share or the majority of the money goes toward the record companies, right? Nation builder. Somebody getting millions of dollars, billions of dollars. If one artist is getting $1 million, guess how much the owner is getting? If one athlete is getting $1 million, $1 million+, guess how much the owner of the Coliseums and the owners of the companies is getting? Billions of dollars, right? The endorsements that they get, right? The endorsements are selling their products, right? Nation builders. And then the last one about nation builder is prison system, prison to pipeline system. They take a statistically, you can look this up. They look at to see what's the reading level for the African American and Hispanic reading levels at the fourth grade, and they can determine how many jails they need to build, how many people guesstimate and estimate how many people will be in prison because of lack of literacy, right? Can't read, can't write, can't spell, can't do nothing, right? So they got to eat. So these young people that's illiterate will grow up to be illiterate, and they will try to get food and shelter by any means necessary, and possibly illegally, right? And so the privatization of the prison system, right? A lot of those prisons, you can get stock on Wall Street with the prison system. Um, um, so a lot of those prisons, they have uh, they have a contract with the state to they have to keep and I'm not making this up. I'm gonna pull it up next time. They have to keep the prisons so full, right? So many beds. They have to fill up the prison with so many inmates, and they got to keep it full. That's why it's a lot of nonviolent offenders going to jail and charges being trumped up, and offense might be a 5-year offense, but they trumping it up to a 10-year offense or more, right? And they add more charges so they can stay in there longer and longer and longer. And the more dangerous the criminal is, the higher it costs to house the inmate. Now, and that's the reason why I believe a lot of people that be on death row for years, 10, 20 years, like, man, they on death row for 20 years, will cost you, they get more money to house that inmate because he's an at risk, he's more of a danger, but you keep him alive and you can get more money, right? Some they kill right away, Tookie Williams, right? They kill him right away, but then some, like Marilyn Manson, they let him live. He died. He was on death row, but he died in prison. So nation builders, right? So whether we productive, running on the football field, basketball court, or whether we unproductive, um, lock us up, or even the murders, right? Um, People that invest in home or funeral home business and mortuaries and stuff like that, because people are getting slaughtered, people are getting killed. Even the message in the music, black on black crime, is in the music, and we call it entertainment, right? We killing each other, we shooting each other, we taking a bunch of drugs, we having illicit sex, we having one big old irresponsible party in every single song. And I'm not beating those brothers and sisters down. I'm guilty of it too. I used to record music like that too. And it was a badge of honor to have that parental advisory sticker on your music, because it said that, yeah, you doing something real big, right? But we got to grow up. We got to take responsibility for our communities, right? A lot of people look at us as hypocrites, because when a police shoot a kid, unarmed kid, and we say we injustice, we go get so upset, and then we turn right around and play some music that's black on black violence in the music. So they looking at us as hypocrites. They looking at us as backwards and confused. They're like, man, we trying to help you kill yourself. Here you is, uh, glorifying it in the music, but then when it actually takes place, well, from another race, you want to, cry bloody murder and literally, and go crazy. So we gotta, know what we're doing, and say enough is enough. And in closing, um, it was an interview. Boyce Walker's an interviewing a musician, and he said he had a record deal, and he was saying some of those guys do want to do positive music or conscious music, uh, but the record execs wouldn't release it, right? They will say your album's going to be shelved, or you know what I'm saying. That means it's not going to be released. Your music is not going to be released until you come up with more hardcore, more raunchy stuff, right? To give to the youth, right? So you don't want your album tabled or shelved. You need to get that album out so you can get the money you put in back, so you can go on tour, so you can get the video, so you can yada 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 yada. So you come up with the more raunchy stuff, right? And some people say, well, that's the reality of our neighborhood. That's why they make that music, and it's just entertainment. Well, don't talk about the problem on every song. Come up with a solution. Come up with a solution. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And it might sound square, it might sound old, whatever. But man, we gotta wake up. We gotta rise up, and we gotta quit killing each other and making songs about killing each other and get mad when other people kill us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And we locked up. We dead. Young women, they're going to the abortion clinic and killing the young brothers left and right. Because they don't want to. That's a selfish move. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to have the kid because they don't want to mess their life up. You know what I mean? Because all of it ain't rape. Because a lot of people say, well, I was, it was uninvited sex, right? And I was raped, and now I had this kid. Now that happens, and I have empathy and sympathy for that person. If you one of those people watching and listening. But a lot of times it's our free choice, our free will. We hear the music and we do what we got to do, right? Um, and so the consequences of our actions, now we've been like, okay, we can't bring this baby into the world. But that baby can be a game changer. That baby can set something off, be an amazing legislator in the land, in the world. And he's gone, at the early he's gone as a fetus, right? So in closing, we're nation builders. The African American is building a nation, and a lot of times racial things rise up, and we start saying, hey, I don't want to be bothered with that. They say, well, go back to Africa then. They don't really want us to go back to Africa. I want you to think for a second, if every African American got on a ship and went back to Africa, this country will cave in within 24 to 48 hours, if not sooner, right? All that stuff that I named will stop instantly. The NFL, the NBA. You can't lock nobody up and go to prison, or African inmates. You can't trump charges up because they'll be gone, right? So they don't want you to go back to Africa. They want you to stay in your lane, stay in your place, and listen, submit, obey, but they don't want you to really go back. They just want you to stay in your lane, stay in your place. And it's a lot of hidden racism going on today, but it's in it's covered up in laws, and I'm going over, so I'm gonna stop. But it's in laws, right? Back in the Jim Crow era, they would just come out with stuff, colored water fountain, blah 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 blah. But now the things are more hidden, right? The things are more hidden now. The racism is more hidden. The systematic racism is what we call it. And we've got to pray for our nation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not angry. I'm not an angry black man. Again, I'm not anti-white. I mean, I'm pro-black and all of that. No, it is what it is. This is Elephant Man podcast network. We having the grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. So share, like, subscribe, paste on your page, and we'll talk on Nation Builders Part 2. All right, 1. Perfect.